Hi guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and today we're going to be talking about my June planner lineup. So, you're going to see a much smaller stack than usual for June, and that is because I have finally decided what I'm going to be doing, and that is to cut down on the number of specialty planners that I have for June. So, we're going to talk through what these 4 planners are and really talk about how I'm going to be taking the information that I would normally put into my specialty planners and combining it into this June system. So, I think it'll be fairly straightforward, but we'll see how long it takes. My kids are at home with me, so in case they interrupt me, just know that, I will have to pause the video and I'll try to get back into it, edit out all of the noise, but just apologies in advance. As I say that, I hear them screaming in the background, so just apologies for the noise in the background. So let's talk through, I think, the big ones that I can just get off my plate, and these are actually the 2 big planners that I have. So these 2 I think are just going to stay as they are. Since they weren't Frankenplanned to begin with, I feel okay with just keeping them and using them as I need to. So this first one will be something that I definitely use. This is my work planner. So for my work planner, I use a big happy planner that is an outdated dashboard layout. It's not set up yet. I did set up the dates, but I have not yet decorated it or done any of the fun stuff to make it pretty. But I do use what is in essence an outdated planner that I've redated, and then the back of it is, it's basically just a dashboard layout. So this side of it, I'm starting to run out of numbers, you can see that. This side of it, I keep all of my meetings. This, I think I'm gonna go back to starting to track my work hours, just because during the month of June and July I'll have kind of sporadic work hours, so I just need a total number of hours I work during the day. This side of course has tasks. I'm not even on screen, so this is tasks, and then these 3 boxes right here I use for projects. So that's just what I've been doing for all of 2025. I think I'll just keep doing that. And again, for June and July, I feel like there's going to be, I don't know, a lot of managing of my kids at the same time that I'm working. So I don't know how much of this I'll be able to use, but I do have a couple of other things in here, like daily pages that I can use, just random scrap papers, things like that. So definitely though, I think I'm going to leave this in my lineup and just try to keep track of my work stuff with this work planner. The second one that I am just going to keep as it is and continue using for 2025 as I've set it up originally is going to be my big happy planner that I use for social media. And so this planner I do use just to track my notes for social media planning, so YouTube videos, Instagram. I also keep planner notes in here. So I did go through and find pages to get this all set up, and so now I kind of feel bad for not using it. But I don't think that I'm going to be in here planning. It really will just be kind of a record of what I post on YouTube and on Instagram. If I need to, this can definitely be one that gets removed. I can just simplify the system in some way. I've done several different iterations or ways of trying to simplify it, like going to a monthly, etc., etc. I don't think I'm quite there yet with this planner. I can keep it as is, as a weekly planner, just tracking or recording my videos. I do tend to go back in here and do a lot of back planning for this one, so that is still okay for me. Most of the times I just take screenshots, videos, all the things that I have on my phone when I'm recording videos, and then I will just go in here and just transfer them into this planner. So I can kind of do that in spurts, so I'm okay with still keeping this in my lineup. Okay, the last one that I'm keeping in my lineup is going to be is going to be this cute little micro that I use as an expense tracker, and so I'm going to keep this in here and just kind of continue using it as an expense tracker. The main reason for that is because I love decorating it. I actually have not been great at expense tracking, I just love decorating it. But just to show you, this was the week of Go Wild. I didn't even, I've fallen off the bandwagon of using this, so I can definitely go back in, make sure I grab all of my receipts and write them in here, but I have not been good in the past, I would say, month. In May, I've not been good about using it, but I want to get back on track and continue using it. And again, I just love decorating it. So I will continue using this as my expense tracker. It's essentially just a really cute decorated checkbook register, or I don't use checks, but a credit card register of all of my purchases. So I'm going to continue using this. Okay, I think that was so far so good. Now we're going to talk about classic size. Actually, before I get into classic size, there's one planner that I didn't actually include in here, and that's because I've basically given up on it. I guess I shouldn't say given up, but I have basically moved away from treating it as like a dated planner of some sort, and that's going to be my faith planner. It's at this point, I guess, basically turned into a notebook, a journal. I do date it, but it's not something that I do consistently where it's like every day I need to check in there. It's not here. So I'm going to talk about how it gets incorporated here. I moved from classic size to a notebook for that, and so it's not classic size, but all of my other specialty planners are classic size. And again, my faith planner was, I guess, like technically it was a classic size. It just moved to a notebook. I also have a health food log that is classic size. I have a family planner where I track notes about like big events, milestones in my family's life, and in my friends' lives. I have a separate planner for that. That's a classic size. I also have a like basically a leadership, personal growth, personal development planner that I use to track all of my volunteer events. Again, that is also classic size, and I think that might be it. I'm pretty sure that's it because those are basically the sections of my FRANKENPLANNER. This is not my FRANKENPLANNER. I'm looking in here like it's my FRANKENPLANNER. So those are the specialty planners that I do typically use. And so I did use them consistently-ish for January, February, March, April, and May of 2025. For June, however, I've decided that the thing that will help me the most in terms of prioritizing my kids in the summer is to reduce the number of specialty planners that I have. Again, I'm still keeping my work planner, I'm still keeping my social media planner, I'm still keeping my expense tracker, mostly because those are like odd sizes and they don't fit into a classic size anyway, but I also just like keeping those separate, and I told you my reasons for keeping the expense tracker, and then for everything else that was initially classic size, I'm just going to combine here into my catch-all. So one of my girls had to come out with me. Hopefully she doesn't disturb the video too much, but I've decided to basically simplify to this personal catch-all, and I'll explain what I'm thinking and how this is going to work with kind of like splitting up everything that I need to for just tracking all the things that I need to. So I do use for my catch-all this monthly layout that is a current planner, and so this is the monthly spread. There is a dashboard layout with like habits, some to-do lists, things like that, top priorities. Then there is these daily tasks. Now I use this to track like all pending tasks that I have for my life. So all the things that I need to do, I just write in the section. And then there's a notes page for the monthly layout, and it follows with a currently page, which I don't use for any reason. I'm realizing I don't have daily pages in here. Okay, so I had to pull this out from my stash just to get my daily pages. So right after the monthly layout, I have these daily pages, which are not even punched yet. I haven't dated it yet either. I've got the labels here to date, but this daily page is a daily on 2 pages from Tool, T-U-L. It did start off life as a letter size, and I trimmed off the dated part that was up here. It was like from 2020, 2019, 2020, so definitely outdated, and so cutting it off just means that it became an undated planner. And so this side has the daily schedule from 6:30 until 10:30, which to me is like 11 o'clock at night, and it's in 30-minute intervals like that. And so it's a lot of room, definitely a lot of room for me to use. And in combination with the monthly layout, I feel like I can simplify all of the specialty planners and include everything that I would put into a specialty planner in here. For me, the biggest one that is going to take the most room is going to be my health planner. I tend to take a lot of like it's really just random notes about what I eat. It's not random, it's what I eat. And so I like to be as detailed as possible with that. And so I need a plan for that. For my family, friends planner, I actually don't keep a ton of notes there unless I'm in the mood and I'm just transferring notes over. Yeah, I think it's okay for me just to skip that planner altogether and just make note of major milestones just as like a journaling note in my daily planner. And then for my leadership, that is like usually during the summer very light in terms of volunteer activities for me, so I think that will be okay. And then I think I mentioned faith is a separate thing with its journal. I'm not sure which one I'm missing. I think that's it. All right, again, I might be missing some, but like again, this is my simplification of it, so I don't necessarily need to pull out all the other planners to look at anyway. So the big ones here are leadership, slash personal growth, my health, and my family and friends, and faith notes if I need to. So those four. And how am I going to combine them into my catch-all? Now, how I typically use my catch-all is, of course, this is my monthly spread. I put all of my events on here, and I usually color code them. So I will do the same thing in terms of color coding, with the exception in June and in July of my leadership. So normally I pick a color for leadership and I color code it on here, and then I go into my leadership planner and take notes, like more detailed notes of those like events essentially. For June, since I'm kind of deleting the leadership planner from my lineup, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do instead is just write out the events, just like it's a personal event of mine. I'm just going to write it out. And so that addresses basically the leadership, and any notes that I need for the leadership, I can of course take them separately, but I don't think that I will need to do that. Again, very light, I think, in the summer on leadership events. For this dashboard, I have not used it at all in 2025. I guess I could use it if I needed to, but I just don't anticipate using it. I will still continue using these as my pending tasks pages. I don't use the notes pages. I don't use the currently page. So now we're going to get into the dailies. Now, how I typically use the dailies is for like a record of my day. And so on this side, I usually have all of my events. I'll use boxes, or I'll just like hand write in like a different font, like a different handwriting, the events that I have. And then the rest of the time I'll just log different things that are happening. So I ate at 8:30, I did this at 9, I did this at 4 o'clock, and I'll just like log what I do during the day. So I also like put in here, for example, if I did social media related things, if I ran errands where I spent some money, if I do work related things, again, the 3 planners that I'm still keeping in my lineup, I'll still make notes of those things in here. For the planners that I'm deleting, however, leadership, for example, will end up in here, and the more detailed notes will also end up in here. And then for my family and friends, I will just track their stuff on this side. So one of the things I'm thinking of doing for June is trying to be very deliberate of like, my things will be here, and then this right hand side of this left page, this right hand, like the second column, will be for Sophia, for Rose, and for extended family and friends. So just like making notes, milestones, that type of thing that's happening. I want to be able to keep a record of those things, so that way when I go back to my girls' memory books, I can have a record of that. So that's what this column will be. Actually, you know what? No, maybe I should do tasks here. So I'm going to do tasks here. Then I'll do my girls, extended family, that kind of thing here. And then this one will be, I think, my food log. And so I'm just going to like write it chronologically. I'm not going to worry about like trying to match it up with the times. I'm just going to write it chronologically here. And then if I have space, I will just like I will put stickers, but I'll put stickers down and just make it pretty. And yeah, I think that'll be okay. Now, I'm trying to think if I've missed anything. The only thing I've missed is faith. I have to just be honest, I've fallen off kind of doing the faith journaling. So really, I can note in here if I am on my Bible app reading through certain days. I can just make note of that really quickly in here. I can take more detailed notes if I need to. But what I'm thinking is this side will be me, myself and I, my personal events, and my log of my day, any tasks that I have, and then I want a section for food logging on this side, and then a section for like family, friends, and like more detailed notes essentially of like some of the things that might be here, are more detailed oriented on this side. Right, I don't know if that's gonna work. I think I think we'll try it. What I'm thinking also is that my YouTube schedule will change slightly, in that because I'm simplifying my system a little bit, my kids are at home, I have to just kind of figure out my life. I don't think that I'll be able to record my daily pages as I've been doing, because I feel like I need to conserve as much space as possible to be able to write. And so I don't want to put down stickers and then run out of room. So I think what I'm going to do is shift in June at least. I don't know if I'm going to do it for July as well. But in June, what I'm going to do is do a combination video where I'm going to be in here actually writing things down and laying stickers down at the same time. So it'll be stickers, writing, actually decorating and planning for videos. And I'm going to try to do videos like that, whether it's every day or not, I'm not quite sure. I will have periods where I'm able to sit down and kind of record videos. I've made a plan for babysitting for my kids, and so they're not in school, but like they're with my mom. And so I'll have some like quiet time to be able to work and do some I guess like, all the things I need to do. So I won't be on summer schedule all the time, but for the days where I'm on summer schedule, where my kids are at home with me, I feel like I need to just convert those videos to like a combination of like stickers and writing, like leaning more towards writing than stickering. And so I'm still working all of these details out in my head, you guys. And I know June 1st is like right around the corner, but we're definitely going to try it June 1st. That will be the very first day. I will be recording a video for June 1st of like decorating, putting stickers down, but also just laying out my day with my girls, because that is one of the days where they're going to be home with me the entire day. And then for the days where they're not at home with me, I'll have probably some of the long form videos that you're used to. So we're going to work out all those details and we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to close this up. I've got all of this set up. Again, I'm going to start this June 1st, so we'll see how this goes. Definitely a trial and experiment for what June will look like for me. I feel like it will work, but I want to see what it looks like on paper. And as I've mentioned already, I'm still keeping my budget planner, and I'll still keep my two big planners, my social media planner and my work planner. So we will see. We will see, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. My girls are interrupting me. They've cut into this video at least 6 times already. Hopefully I've edited out most of that. But I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough of my planner lineup, especially how I'm changing it. So stay tuned to watch my videos experimenting with this new planner lineup. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel. And until the next video, bye guys.